Hey everybody! I often get asked, why did you move to Mexico? Well, this is just one of the many reasons, but we're gonna tell you all about it this week. We're Dooglass and Esperanza, and we decided to leave our lives in the US, sell almost everything we own, and move to Baja California Sur, where we decided to start a resort in the magical town of Loreto, Mexico. Please come with us to follow our journey and live before you die. One of the very first reasons we moved to Mexico is right here next to me. That is the sea. And we wanted to live very close to the beach. Not really on the beach, but we wanted to live close to the beach. In the US, property on the beach is very, very expensive. The cost of living in coastal towns is very expensive. And so Mexico is a place where you can come and you are able to live on the beach for very similar price to maybe living way inland, away from the beach in Southern California. It's a way to really make the most of your money. And you can see here that we've got tons of beautiful houses right along the beach. I'm just north of Pufferfishvillas here. And you can see, like right behind me, we have a huge house being built right on the ocean. It's gonna have some beautiful big windows. Buenos dias. And you can see that here, every single person you pass says good morning to you, says hi. It's just such a friendly, such a really neat place to live here. So, cost of living. People say all the time, the cost of living is not that much less expensive in Mexico. And they often say, oh, I went to Mexico 40 years ago and I could get a beer and a taco for 10 cents. Well, maybe 40 years ago you could, but you're not gonna get that kind of pricing today. And housing is the same. You know, housing, you used to be able to buy a lot right here on the beach for $5,000. Then you used to be able to build a big house, maybe 2,000 square foot house on it, for $10,000. So for $15,000, 30, 40 years ago, you could have a beachfront house built on a lot here in Loreto. Today, that house, you know, these houses here are well over $1 million. Some of them are over $2 million. Definitely, there is inflation. There is prices being increased here in Mexico. But when you compare what you can get here and what you can get in the US, it is not even close. So we live one lot off the beach and we have a 2-minute walk to the beach. If we wanted to build up high, like a 2-story and put a rooftop deck, we would have a huge ocean view from where we're gonna build our house. We were able to do that all with a piece of property that we purchased for $260,000. And we haven't built a house yet, but when we do, it's gonna be way less than the US. In the US, if you wanted to be one lot off the ocean, let's say in the San Diego area, just the property alone is probably $2, $3, $4 million just for a piece of property. And then you're gonna have to build on it, and building down here is at least half the cost of the US, maybe more like a third of the cost of the US. So being down here and living in Mexico definitely allows us to have a much better lifestyle as far as living close to the beach and taking advantage of all that than we ever would have in the US. And to us, that's one of the things we wanted for our retirement. So another big reason that we wanted to move to Mexico is the lifestyle and the culture. It is definitely more laid back here, less stressful. I like to say that Mexico today, at least in Loreto, Mexico, is much like the world that I grew up in when I was a kid in junior high school in 1985. The kids here are outside playing, running around town. They don't have cell phones. They aren't sitting inside on their computers. You know, they're out having fun like we did when we were kids. And there just isn't the stresses and the hustle and bustle and all that down here that you have in the US. You know, I remember when I grew up, I really think the 80s was the best time to grow up in the United States in the last 50, maybe 100 years. I mean, as kids, we didn't have a worry in the world. There wasn't all this turmoil going on in the world. There wasn't all this stress and problems everywhere. All we worried about is, can I mow a couple lawns so I can get some money to go to the convenience store and buy some candy? You know, that was our biggest worry. I used to be a big skateboarder and I just wanted to skateboard. I built a huge skateboard ramp in my backyard, and that was what we did when we were kids. We played out in the forest until it got dark and then came home. We didn't have cell phones. Our parents didn't know where we were. And that's what it's like down here. Really, you're moving back in time when you come to Mexico. Things you see down here, you don't ever see in the US anymore, but you saw them when I was a kid. Like babies riding on mom's laps in the front seat of the car, or kids riding in the back of the truck. We even were at the convenience store and saw this little 3-year-old walk down the street barefoot, go into the convenience store to buy some candy by himself. I don't know how far away he lived. And you know, that's just not even a concern here. People are not worried about crime or their kids or anything like that. Just met up with a friend here on the beach, Adriana from Posada Espiritu del Mar. That's one other thing that we love about Loreto is all the friends we've made here. You know, we lived in Southern California in the San Diego area. We lived on a dead-end street in a nice neighborhood, and we didn't really have that many friends. We lived there for 5 years, and we tried to make friends, but it's very difficult there. Everybody is so busy. Everybody has so much going, and it's difficult to find people that have the time when you have the time, or you know, want to do the same things you want to do. Whereas here, everybody's kind of in the same boat, and everybody has all the time in the world. And so it's a lot easier to make friends. It's a lot easier to get invited to events and meet new people. You know, we've been to 2 birthday parties in the last 2 weeks, and one of them was maybe 100 people at the birthday party, and we met tons of new people. That really didn't happen for us in the US. And so being able to make so many friends, and a lot of them are expats like us, and a lot of them are Mexicans. We have a lot of Mexican friends down here too. And a lot of our Mexican friends don't speak a lot of English, and we thought it would be really difficult to associate and be friends with someone when you have a language barrier, but it really isn't. We are able to still have fun, hang out in a party, and do all that with our Mexican friends that don't even speak a lot of English. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Got some fishermen bringing their boat in right here onto the shore. They just drag it up on the shore and then come put their trailer down and drag it out. That's how a lot of the fishermen do it here. Another big reason that we chose to come to Mexico is just how friendly and welcoming the people are. Here in Loreto, almost every person you pass on the street, every person I passed today walking here on the beach says hi to you, says good morning to you. When we were in the US, we would go down to our little local town, and they had a really neat little downtown area, you know, 5 blocks by 5 blocks. all fixed up really nice. But you walk down there on the street, no one would ever talk to you. People would purposely look down at the ground when they pass you so they didn't have to say hi to you. And so coming to a place where everybody is so friendly and welcoming has been fantastic. We really have loved that. Now, a lot of people are concerned about not being able to speak Spanish or not being able to speak Spanish well when they come to Mexico, and that really hasn't been an issue for us. I speak Spanish decently, and especially construction Spanish I'm pretty good at. Esperanza is learning, getting better all the time with her Spanish, but she is very beginner level and does not know a tremendous amount of Spanish. Even with that, we have no problem. Esperanza has no problem going by herself, going out to do anything, go to the grocery store, go to a restaurant, or go downtown to even do things at City Hall or other items like that. You can always get along. You can always find somebody that can help you, and people here appreciate that you try. Even if you're horrible and your Spanish is horrible and you're getting all the words wrong and everything wrong, they still really appreciate that you try and you do your best, and they will help you when you do that. I'm going to turn around here because I'm going to go back and head back to Pufferfish Villas. Behind me here is the start of the main area downtown. You can see the lighthouse there at the harbor, and it's not very far to walk here on the beach. I've already walked all the way down the other way and then back this way. So whenever we talk about why we moved to Mexico, we have to talk about safety. People are concerned with safety in Mexico because there are a few stories that get sensationalized and very heavily pushed in the media in the United States and Canada. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
Like anything, there are good parts of town, bad parts of town. There are very safe cities and not so safe cities. We live in a very safe town in Mexico, and there is very little crime here. People here are fantastic, and no one is worried about their safety here. Anyone that has been here will tell you they are not worried about their safety. Now, a lot of people who have never been to Mexico and have never been here will tell you all kinds of things about how dangerous it is to go to Mexico. Or people that went to Mexico 30 years ago and loved it and then see everything on TV and they assume that entire Mexico is, a war zone, and so then they tell everybody, I used to go to Mexico 30 years ago, I would never go back. Well, if they came here, they would keep coming back because this is like the Mexico of 30 years ago. I know I can't convince anyone that thinks it's dangerous here that it isn't dangerous. All I would say is, if you want to come to Mexico and try it out, I would say as long as you're coming to a big tourist area and you do a little research, I would feel 100% safe. And I think everybody should give it a try. It's a fantastic place to vacation and to live. And it is really not like it's portrayed in the few stories that you see on the nightly news here. Fishermen are cleaning their catch and all the birds are here. And the truck is here ready to get all the fresh fish and take it right into the restaurant. So you can see this is ocean to table here, or sea to table. Here's the fishermen, they just came in. There's the truck that's going to take it over to the restaurant. So within an hour or two, all that fish is going to go to the restaurants in town, and you come here and have some nice fresh fish at a restaurant. You know it's fresh. And here we have the police. They are all around town. They are the nicest police that you're ever going to find. You hear stories about Mexican police extorting people. Maybe that happens other places. Maybe it happens at the border. I don't know. I have never been extorted by the Mexican police. I've never been stopped by the Mexican police. I've lived here 2 years in Loreto. And the only time I've ever talked to the police is when I stop them to say hi and talk to them when they're driving by. All right, I'm walking back up the road from the beach. We actually have some friends that live down this little road right on the beach here. This is our friend Cindy. She manages quite a few properties here in town, her and her husband, and they live right here on the road going down to the beach. So now we're going to head down to Pufferfishvillas here. So the next thing that really concerns people a lot of the time is, what about all of the paperwork, all the rules and regulations on residency and living here? And we built a whole resort here. How did you do that in Mexico? Well, number one, just like any government, Mexico does have a lot of paperwork. They tend to have a lot of hoops that you have to jump through to get things done. But in my opinion, it is way less than the paperwork and hoops you have to jump through in the US. We're already back at Pufferfishvillas right here. Even though there is some paperwork, some regulations, you have to go through the steps to get residency. When you're building something like this, there's all the steps that you go through when you buy the property. There's steps that you go through when you're building. But for example, here in Loreto, you get a building permit. The building permit, you submit a set of plans, you pay your building permit fee, which is $300 or $400. They give you a building permit. And then the next time that you talk to the people at the city is when you're going in to get your final occupancy permit, meaning the work is done. And the real reason for that is just so they can get the tax rolls reassessed with whatever you built on the property. In between, there is nothing. There are no inspections. There's no other permits. There's no other fees. So it really is very easy to get things done here. And everyone is willing to help you. When you buy a house here or you buy a property, the realtor will take you through every step of the process and help you. If you get a real estate attorney, they will also take you through all the steps and help you with everything that you need. And they usually all speak English because they're working with Americans. And with the technology the way it is, it's really not that scary to work with paperwork in Spanish. I just the other day had to convert one of our electrical services from our personal name over to our corporation name. And we had to put in our personal name when we first started because we didn't have the corporation and everything totally completed. And we needed to get it converted over to the corporation name. So the corporation was paying the bills for the electric bill, and the corporation name is on the electric bill. So, of course, there's paperwork to fill out. 3 pages of paperwork, 4 pages, because one of them was double-sided. And it's all in Spanish. So I put it in Google Translate, so I knew what I needed to say when I went in there and knew it was accurate. They knew exactly what I wanted to do, gave me the paperwork. I bring the paperwork home. I take my phone, take a picture of it with Google Translate, and I'm able to figure out, it's just put your name here, your address here, how many services do you have? Beautiful here by the pool this morning. We have guests today, but they are headed out to Coronado, to the island. And I actually had to go in and run my action camera under the water because that's the problem with action cameras. They do not do well in the sun because they're so small that they tend to overheat. But I do have the Osmo 3, I think it's Osmo Action 3 from DJI. I switched over from a GoPro. I had a GoPro 10. That was so horrible overheating here. I mean, in hot climates, GoPro does not do good. Now the Osmo does overheat, but unlike the GoPro would overheat and then it would just die, shut off, and whatever you're recording, you lose everything that you were recording. The Osmo will shut off the screen when you have a overheating, and eventually if it overheats enough it will shut down, but it saves the end of your video. It stops the video and saves it before it shuts down, instead of just shutting down and you losing whatever you were shooting during that time. So I've been very happy with the DJI equipment. I have the DJI Mini 3 drone and the Osmo 3 action camera. And if you're interested in any of the equipment we use, look down in the links below. I'm going to put a link to our Amazon store, and I'm going to put all of the equipment that I use on there. So please use our link to go to Amazon, and we get a little bit of an affiliate fee from that. Doesn't cost you anything more, and you get some cool equipment. All right, to finish off paperwork in Mexico and all this, it can seem daunting, and it can be very intimidating to fill out paperwork in a foreign language, but there are always people there to help you every step of the way, at least everything we have ever done. And I have never had any problems, and I was able to get the electric service changed over. I had to go back twice because I went back the first time and I had some stuff wrong on the forms, and she told me what was wrong. I fixed it, and now I have the electrical service changed over. It didn't cost me 1 cent. So while I'm down here, I'll give you an update about Pufferfish Villas. So we have been doing fantastic down here, and everything has been running so smooth. I've been doing the landscaping. It really is filling in. Everything is so beautiful here, and our guests have been fantastic. We still have bookings through May and June, and July and August it falls off a little bit, but then we have bookings back again for September, and we are really booking up for next season. So next November, December, January, February, March, we are getting booked up. We're probably almost 50% booked for those 5 months already. So if you're interested in next season, definitely get online and see if your dates are available. And we could not be more happy here. You know, it has been so awesome to see everybody love this place as much as we do. Our reviews are fantastic on all of our different platforms, Airbnb, VRBO, and our own website. Also, our Google reviews are all just spectacular. If you're thinking about coming to Loreto and you're looking to book a place, definitely check us out. You won't be disappointed. I tell you, this is the pool area here, and this is one of our guests' favorite areas out here because it can get warm, and a lot of people come to Mexico for the sun and the sunbathing, and we have the shade, we have the sunbathing over in the mini cabanas and the pool. It is just awesome. And hopefully in the summer of 2025, if we can sell our lots in the back, we'll be building phase 3 right here, 3 more villas, and that will give us the ability to host even more people and let them enjoy this beautiful, beautiful place here. We've made a lot of progress with our plan here, and that was to sell the trailer, which the trailer is sold, and we are storing it for the new owners until they can get down here to pick it up. We also have sold, hopefully, cross your fingers, our Toyota Tundra, and this was sold. We had a deposit put down on it by a person, and they're coming on May 30th to pick up the truck. So pretty much this is just being in storage right now too. It's just waiting for its new owners. We really were concerned that would we be able to sell big ticket items like this trailer and a Toyota Tundra down here in Mexico. We were able to sell them, and we were able to sell them for a very reasonable amount, about the same amount that we would have sold them in the US. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope we gave you some good information about why we moved to Mexico, and you got a cool update of what's going on here at Pufferfish Villas. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't so you don't miss upcoming episodes, and never forget to live before you die.